If you have visited our channel before, you already know what to expect from us, the very best archaeological finds from around the world. If, on the other hand, you have never visited our channel before, today would be a good day to get to know us better. You can do that by clicking subscribe, and you have just enough time to do it before we get into the amazing discoveries in this video. England's William Shakespeare is regarded as the greatest writer who ever lived and is known throughout the world, but far fewer people are likely to have heard of Tang Xianzu. He's a well-known figure in his native China, though where he's considered to be the Chinese equivalent of Shakespeare. His most famous work is called The Peony Pavilion. We are discussing Tang Xianzu because archaeologists finally found the grave of the great writer in August 2017. It is one of 42 graves from the Ming period discovered in Jiangxi province that month. All of them date between the years 1368 and 1644. Tang died near the end of this era, in the year 1616. Aside from being laid to rest at the location, Tang seems to have composed memorial inscriptions for several individuals interred with him. Experts have recognized at least 6 of these inscriptions at the site as Tang's creations. One of them is for his second wife, Xiao, and another is for Fu, his third wife. It is believed that the grave site was intentionally destroyed and covered up during the Chinese Cultural Revolution of the 1960s, but it was rediscovered after the demolition of a factory that was previously located on this site. Our upcoming finding is from June 2022, and it's a significant one. Actually, it's an entire abandoned city. The city, which is 3,400 years old, has recently appeared from the Tigris River. It had been underwater since Iraq's Mosul reservoir was built in the 1980s. Somehow, the existence of the city was either unidentified or ignored when the reservoir was made. Archaeologists say that the city was built during the height of the old Mitanni Empire. It wasn't any old city either. It was a place of great importance. We know that because it has several large administrative buildings and a grand palace. Some historians believe it might be the ancient and legendary city of Zakaku, known to have been a significant city in the whole empire between 1550 and 1350 before Common Era. The city will only stay accessible while the current drought continues, so the experts on site need to work quickly. To date, they have charted all of the largest parts of the city and discovered a fortified wall dotted with towers, huge storage facilities, and what could be an industrial area. They have also uncovered 5 ceramic pots with over 100 cuneiform tablets inside, but it will probably take several months to translate the writing. Initially, archaeologists were not very surprised when they discovered the remains of 2 vessels in the Baltic Sea near Stockholm, Sweden. The chilly sea is so salty that shipworms cannot live there, allowing shipwrecks to remain preserved for extended periods. There are over 100 shipwrecks in this area of the ocean, but what really interested archaeologists about the 2 discoveries from February 2018 is how old they are. One of the ships is a medieval cog and likely sank during the 14th century. The second is believed to be from the 16th century. Medieval ships are rare finds in Swedish waters because the Swedish Navy didn't reach its peak until the 17th century. The 14th century ship is, understandably, in relatively poor condition, missing its square-rigged mast. The younger vessel sits upright on the seabed with its mast standing straight and most of its essential equipment still on board. Divers have noted barrels of Osmond iron, kitchen tools, and personal belongings inside the wreck. Identifying the ship is unfortunately likely to be impossible because of the poor record-keeping practices of that time period. Let's start with the Siloam inscription, also known as the Shiloah or Silwan inscription. It's a Hebrew inscription found in the Siloam Tunnel in the city of David in 1838. Before the inscription was found, archaeologists couldn't determine the age of the tunnel, as accurately dating rock monuments is currently impossible. Fortunately, the inscription notes the tunnel's construction, dating it to the 8th century BC. Apart from being useful for that reason, the inscription is also special. This is the only known inscription that celebrates a public construction project of its time in Israel or Judah. Such inscriptions were common in Mesopotamian or Egyptian building projects, but not here. This suggests that the workers involved in building the tunnel may have connections to those locations, although proving this will remain impossible. Besides determining the tunnel's age, the inscription also details the construction method, indicating that stonecutters started from both ends and met in the center. When archaeologists in Germany excavated the grave of a Roman soldier in the second month of the year 2020, they were confused when they dug up a solid object that looked a little like a chicken tender. Alternatively, for our British viewers, you could say it looked a little like a battered fish. An expert in restoration took a long time to remove the rust, but the result of the restoration project is amazing. Now it's clear that this is a beautiful ancient Roman dagger with jewels and intricate decorations. It was still in its sheath when discovered, although initially all the rust made it impossible to tell. Experts say the silver artifact is about 2,000 years old. The discovery was made at Haltern am See, not far from the remains of a former Roman military camp that was attacked several times by Germanic tribes. It's likely that the soldier was a victim of one of those attacks. A weapon of such beauty wouldn't have been in the hands of a low-ranking soldier, so it's likely that he was a centurion. Pompeii is the largest archaeological site globally. Work has been ongoing in Pompeii since the 1800s and might not finish in our lifetime. Among the many fascinating discoveries made, there is a monumental tomb with the world's longest funerary inscription. It was discovered near Porta Stabia in the middle of the year 2017. Specialists believe that the gravestone was put up shortly before the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, which devastated the city. The writing on its surface is over 10 feet in length and details the life of the individual it commemorates. The name of the deceased is a curious absence from the text, but it talks about his grand wedding, the public feasts he hosted, and his skill in gladiatorial games, including the defeat of large animals. In addition to all the biographical details, the inscription mentions a major fight that erupted during a gladiator show in an amphitheater in the year 59 before Common Era. It was deemed such a scandal that Emperor Nero ordered the Roman Senate to look into the incident. The inquiry led to the removal of numerous judges, and it took a decade before Pompeii was allowed to have gladiator events again. Construction work near the ancient city of Myra in Antalya, Turkey, was stopped suddenly in June 2017 when bulldozer driver Nuri Bichik discovered he had hit a historical artifact. Experts arrived at the site and got excited when they found out that Nuri had stumbled upon a Lycian-era rock tomb by accident. Experts from the Lycian Civilizations Museum think the tomb is 2,400 years old. Unfortunately, it seems neither Nuri nor the experts were the first to find the tomb. It's empty, likely robbed centuries ago. The tomb's unusual shape fascinates historians who question why its top resembles a boat, while its bottom resembles a house. Building the tomb was probably a tough task for the people back then because it's carved straight into solid rock. Today, it's over 12 feet underground, likely because it got buried in silt when the nearby Miros River overflowed and flooded the area in the 6th century. During the chaos of the English Reformation, King Henry VIII made the strange decision to commission a tapestry of St. Paul, directing a book burning in front of an enormous bonfire to hang on the walls of Hampton Court. It's a uniquely curious piece ordered by a uniquely curious king, and for a long time, it was thought to be lost. In September 2018, the lost tapestry was rediscovered. The beautiful 20-foot wide piece, completed during the 1530s, was designed by Peter Koike van Aelst and then woven with threads of gold and silver at enormous expense. The country might have been falling to pieces, but Henry wanted his tapestry, and he did not care what it cost him. An inventory of Hampton Court carried out on the occasion of the king's death in the year 1547 indicates that it was still present there at that time. Subsequently, it is documented to have been located at Windsor Castle until the year 1770. Afterward, it vanishes from British archives, but it is now believed to have made its way to Barcelona, Spain during the 1960s. It is possible that it had been bought and sold on the illegal market several times by then. After being identified, it was finally returned to London. Mundeshwari Temple, located in the Kaimur district of India, has been recognized as a protected monument by the Archaeological Survey of India since the year 1915. The organization has a great reason for giving the temple such high status. It is the oldest Hindu temple in the whole country. Also, the experts working for the Archaeological Survey of India have managed to determine the exact year of the temple's construction through various tests. They are sure it was built in 108. Their assessment contradicts the tourist information sign outside the temple, which claims it was built in the year 625. Based on the oldest writings on its walls. The temple was originally dedicated to worshipping Devi Durga, a main aspect of the Supreme Mother Goddess. There used to be a big religious and educational center where the temple is now, with the temple being the main place of worship, but all the other buildings and monuments were destroyed or taken away a long time ago. Even this temple has been damaged before, and you can see a broken statue of Mandaleshwari in the main temple's east room. When you're thinking about visiting a city for a vacation, it's common to do some research beforehand. This is partly to find out where the best places to visit are. Equally important is knowing the places to avoid. For example, if you were considering a trip to London, England during the early 1300s, having this so-called medieval murder map would be quite handy. The data comes from records made by coroners from 1300 to 1340. It maps violent death occurrences on the city's streets, helping visitors identify danger hotspots. While it highlights the risks of certain streets in London during this period, it also includes a guide explaining each death's context. Some explanations are quite strange. A man was killed by an angry group because he threw eel skins from his market stall onto the street. Statistically, the most dangerous place to go is a road in Cheapside between St. Mary Le Bow Church and St. Paul's Cathedral. We are sure the city's tourism board would like us to say that it is a much safer place today. Some historians argue that the people of the Americas were uncultured before Europeans came, but that is just not right. We constantly discover more proof of this fact, evident in this exceptionally rare Aztec map. It was created in Mexico in the 1500s during a pivotal moment in the interactions between the Aztecs and the Spanish colonizers. It's known as the Codex Quetzalcoatlin, and it covers a region between Puebla and Mexico City. This land seemingly belonged to the De Leon family. Remarkably, it's among fewer than 100 maps from this time period that have persisted to modern times. The map is particularly fascinating due to its fusion of Aztec and Spanish cultures. It is created with natural dyes such as Maya blue and includes Aztec hieroglyphics, but it also contains some place names in Spanish and Spanish architecture. Experts think the map was created around 1570, well after Hernán Cortés invaded Mexico and conquered the Aztec Empire. However, it shows that parts of Aztec civilization continued beyond that time, apparently coexisting peacefully with the Spanish. In 2016, a mummified female body was found at an archaeological site near the coastal ruined town of Aspero in Peru. The lady with the 4 brooches was the name given to her because of the jewelry she was found buried with. 1 year later, artists released an incredible recreation of what the lady with the 4 brooches would have looked like when she was alive 4,500 years ago. The mummy is important not just because of how old it is, but also because of the culture she was part of. She belonged to the Corral civilization, which historians note as a rare ancient example of a gender-equal society in South America. In that society, this woman almost certainly had a noble rank. She wouldn't have been buried like this if she wasn't seen as very important. And her 4 brooches also hint at her social status. They would have been used to fasten clothes, and decorative fasteners like these were often symbols of wealth. We think we know her appearance, her clothing, and her role. The only thing not known is her name, and unfortunately, we will likely never learn it. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Exciting discoveries are waiting for you in every video. Thank you for your support. See you later.